When my first boy was born, my first child, my wife noticed, growth something. We didn't know where to turn.
My mother was nifter on Thursday morning around 11 o'clock. We all learn as kids that you're supposed to bury someone quickly, but the reality of getting a body from America to Israel is that it takes hours.
My daughter had a surgery a few years ago. I didn't realize how difficult the decision-making would be of selecting a doctor.
One of my children was not feeling so well, and we didn't know where to go and what to do. The pediatrician said a little bit at a loss of what it might be.
There was an unfortunate tragedy where my wife's cousin passed away, was hit by a truck.
It was a little over 3 years ago when my daughter, Al Shalom, had to be taken to the hospital on Sukkos, the second day of Yom Tov. And we were in shock.
We had finally rebuilt our house after Sandy. My oven sort of exploded. I, Baruch Hashem, got my grandson out from the second floor. I didn't know it was engulfed in flames. We lost everything we owned. It was the most devastating thing in my life.
I had just gotten to the bungalow. I unpacked, and I was sleeping for a while, and the phone rang, and it was Hatzalah. And they said, "Hi, Mrs. Ganak, there's been an accident. Abi's okay, but we're transferring him to Orange Regional Medical Center." You become very paralyzed. You don't know what to do. It's also in the middle of the night. You're just lost. We had no idea who to turn to. We emailed the scans to Baruch Ber, and by 4:15 we got a text back. "I'm awake, I'm on it. I want you to move Abi to Manhattan, and I will give you instructions from there."
We turned to Achiezer. They always told us which doctors to use. They also made us feel comfortable.
Rabbi Bender and Achiezer were just incredible. Not only were they there at the time of the accident and to help, they were there prepared to provide a cemetery plot. They were there making all of the funeral arrangements. And you need somebody with both the experience and the compassion who can step up to the plate at a tragic time like that and try and bring some sanity to the whole situation.
One of the Hatzalah members reached out and called Rabbi Bender. It was on Yom Tov, he was in shul. By the time we got to the hospital, one of the main doctors comes down to greet us and says that he was in the middle of a procedure and he was called to please make sure that we're taken care of right away. And it really made a very, very difficult situation a little bit easier to bear.
I called Achiezer. Ultimately, he was able to get us into a top specialist, and Achiezer sent over food beyond anything that we could have needed. There was just every attention to detail, things that we didn't even know Achiezer had thought of, anticipated, and dealt with proactively before it even came up.
When we see a family that's struggling not only with finances but also needs help with health insurance, or they're having an issue and they could use to speak to a job coach, there are so many different resources available at Achiezer. The same way you hear in medicine, treat the whole patient, they're really able to treat the whole client.
To see somebody like Achiezer would come in, sit me down and say, "Relax, we're here for you, we're gonna help you," and hooking us up with people that went through the same type of crisis that we did.
We must have been 20 or 30 conversations back and forth with Achiezer about which doctor to select, and my daughter is fine, Baruch Hashem, right now.
The day that she was nifter was Yom HaAtzma, but there was some council person that needed to sign paperwork to release her body to go to Israel, and Achiezer just took the reins so that we can all get on the plane, and it was 19 hours. Like, America to Israel takes you more than 19 hours to get to the plane, on the plane, out of the plane, and she was able to be buried on a Friday afternoon in Israel at 2 o'clock. And we were able to do it in peacefulness.
You don't know when your emergency is going to strike. You don't know when you're going to need help, and they're there. They have our backs 24/7.
When people are struck with a crisis, when people just don't know where to turn, Achiezer has become that address. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Achiezer is willing to actually deal with all issues that come its way. So meaning to say, oh, there's an issue about drugs in the community, there's an issue which relates to Hatzalah, there's an issue which relates to Chevra Kadisha, there's an issue which relates to hospitals, that are willing to say, well, let's try to work out how this can be our job description.
They have the energy and they have the wherewithal, they have the staff to take on whatever the community needs.
It's pretty incredible when you just feel shut down from all conventional methods of medical referrals, and then you just pick up the phone and you speak to a real person, and the personal attention that you get when you call is incomparable.
They stand by you, help you, guide you. They will do anything for anybody.
If that means, waking somebody up by knocking on his door 1 o'clock in the morning because they're the people that you need and that's the relationship that needs to be tapped into, it means we do it. The attitude at Achiezer is just not taking no for an answer.
My cousins, they will always remember what Achiezer and Rabbi Bender did for the family at this critical time.
Our family has huge hakaras hatov to Achiezer because we were able to honor our mother in the highest, best way possible.
From a perspective of a Rav, we get calls, medical insurance issues, health issues, sometimes legal issues. And literally, and I say this doesn't happen on a daily basis, it happens often on an hourly basis. And to really have a central address, a central number to call, and that's an incredible thing in itself, bringing the community together on such a deep level.
Working with Achiezer is really a partnership. It gives me a special feeling that I can give back to the community that I'm a part of. We really are one community. When you're involved with Chesed, you really see that.
We have tremendous hakaras hatov for Achiezer and for everything they do to make things pleasant as they could possibly be.
I firmly believe that Achiezer would not be half of the success that it is today without the community involvement and the community engagement from end to end. It has been what built Achiezer, and I believe it's what sustains Achiezer, and I believe it will be the only common denominator that will continue to allow Achiezer to grow because it lives and breathes off the community.